I haven't. So, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, welcome to this week's session of Toastmasters. We have prepared speeches by myself, Scott, with our timer Brian, our accountant Janice, and our grammarian is Lloyd. Yay.
Give ourselves a hand.
Yeah, let's give ourselves a hand. All right. So I'd like to introduce our timer Brian to try to explain his role as best he can.
You can bring that up with you.
Bring it all up with you. Yeah.
First time.
Yeah, it's his first time.
And we're timing you.
Well, how do I find out if it's a speach or?
So I'll announce it at the beginning of the speech.
Oh, okay.
So when it's time to prepare the speech, this is a prepared speech,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you go up
Okay,
the
so,
stage. You go up the stage.
You go up here. Come over
Very
here.
formal.
It's very formal.
You're in it now, Brian.
We're not Mickey Mouse.
We know Brian very well.
We
so-
tried to.
We used to be more Mickey Mouse. Today we got Janice.
I'll keep you in mind, don't worry.
I'm Brian, I'm the timer.
Hi, Brian.
Okay, this is gonna be one round, right? First round is speech.
So prepared speeches.
Yeah, prepared speeches. And green card will be 5 minutes. And the yellow card for 6 minutes. And the red for about 7 and a half or so, I'll let you know. Shut her down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're catching on quick.
Yeah. And
Experienced.
I'd like to welcome our accountant Janice. Yes, you are.
I guess when you make pauses or ums or ahs, I'll do a discreet.
Ooh,
Was that too-
that's
too loud?
gentle.
Distracted.
That's pretty good. That's gentle, yeah.
Okay,
All
let me
right.
try
You
again.
need to hold this.
Yeah.
Then you can be as hard as you
Yeah.
can. Yes.
I've got nothing.
Okay, I'll hold it and slap and
Yeah.
slap it.
Good.
All right, okay. And our grammarian for tonight is
Okay.
Lloyd.
Lloyd. Grammarian.
I had
Grammarian.
really bad days.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
So,
so
pick out
something
your
came
grammar.
out and I felt a bit
words.
there and had to chuck a load, so.
Okay, awesome.
Fellow grammarians, yeah, okay.
This is grammarians
That
on
was
shows.
joy right there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I will be your grammarian tonight, and I will be listening to you as you speak, as to be monitoring what type of grammar you are using, what type of profound grammar you might be using, any words that really point out what you're talking about in your speech, and that it makes it sound more profound. Thank you.
Do you have a word of the day? Is it profound?
Maybe it is profound.
Okay,
Okay,
it's profound.
that's the word.
All right.
Will that work
Profound
for
is
you
our
guys?
word of the day.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
Word
profound.
of the day is profound.
Yes. So, up next is prepared speeches. So I will be doing my prepared speech, and Harvey is my evaluator.
Yes.
And until Paul shows up, I'll probably Scott can be Scott's evaluator.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you do with that?
I'll be very critical to myself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so when you mix 5, all that up, so now sit all the yellow. It's so he knows the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
As soon as he says fellow Toastmasters.
Okay. All right, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. This month, we've been talking a little bit about give and take, givers and takers. Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah. That's already 10 seconds off my time, so that's good. Givers and takers, so that's me taking 10 seconds freely, honestly, and this is very, very, very annoying, but I'll try to get through it. So we've been talking about givers and takers, and matchers and whatnot, and why it's better to be a giver or a taker. And I just want to sort of explore what it means to be a giver, a taker, a matcher. And the TED Talk we watched a couple of weeks ago says that there's givers, takers, matchers, people who like to give freely to the office, workplace environments. Takers like to think about how to gain the most out of the system so that maybe they can work less or gain more money or earn more respect or something. And then matchers are the people in the middle that, oh, you give me something, I'll give you something in return. And this past week, I've been thinking about what we are born with, what kind of person we are, who we are, how did we get to givers, takers, and matchers. And I was playing with my nephew the other day, and one of the first words he was saying is what? Other than mommy and daddy.
Gimme.
What else? What else? Yeah, mine. No?
No, yeah.
Yeah, mine? No? Gimme? Yeah, I mean, it seems so natural that as a child, if I want it, I'm gonna take it. It'll come to me, or everything, this is mine, I want to play with it. But after a while, maybe when they're 5, 6 years old, you see them playing with no concept of race or whatever, that they're fine with it. And it's odd that people become givers and takers and matchers because it doesn't seem like they're born with it. So what happened to make us become givers? What happened to make us become matchers? What happened to make us become takers? I think it's a fundamental value that we find ourselves being drawn to, whether it feels good giving, or it feels good taking, or if it doesn't feel good taking. I mean, somebody could give you a present out of the blue, and you'd be like, oh, no, oh, I couldn't take it, I don't deserve it. But in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, I really like that thing. I needed a new DVD player, or a computer, or something, or a video game system. So, what kind of person am I? What kind of person do you think you are, Scott? Are you a giver, a taker, a matcher?
I'm a giver and a matcher.
Giver or a matcher?
I'm a GM.
You're a GM, okay.
GM, really?
Harvey, what do you think you might be?
Probably a giver.
A giver.
Yeah.
Dad?
I like to be viewed as a giver,
Mhm.
but I think as I'm an absolute matcher.
Yeah. Well, I think that in everybody here, I think most people like to be givers. And they also like to be takers at times. And we also like to be matchers. I don't think anybody here is definitively one or the other all the time. And it goes with our attitudes at the time. You could be a very stingy person, but you could also be very generous at the same time. There's a difference between generosity and giving. And I think it comes from deep within yourself. What do you feel like doing? Because sometimes it doesn't feel good to give. Sometimes it feels really good to give. And we all need to learn how to make that feel good to give all the time. Whether it's our time, our advice, friends with church, friends with Toastmasters. How do we encourage people to give more? And at this point, I think we need to just encourage each other, because it doesn't take much to give a little bit. And it's like dominoes, once you push one down,
Yes.
I think it's easier to give more and more and more. So that is my speech, a little bit truncated from originally planned. Thank you very much, everybody. Harvey to the stage
Harvey?
to give my evaluation. I certainly didn't take a lot of notes.
Be profound, Harvey, be profound.
Be profound.
Be profound.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't use
No,
profound.
I didn't use profound, no.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, thank you very much. Thank you, Andy, for an interesting talk. And I like the fact that you were proposing, essentially, that we're not always givers, takers, or matchers. And what I thought at first was you handled the interruption of Brian learning how to be a timer. You kind of got a little bit flustered, but what was interesting is after you said, oh, I'm a bit flustered, straight away into your speech, the distraction had subsided and you were straight into summarising what we were talking about in the previous week, which was great for Janice and for Brian, so that they would actually catch on as to what the topic's about. Because if you just said givers, takers, matchers, you would probably not know. So you went through that, gave us a good summary of what was talked about the previous time. And what I also noticed is you were moving around the stage and using your hands. You weren't just standing static like I am. Oops. So that was good, I noticed that. And you also used, a couple of times, you actually asked the audience for their thoughts, which allowed people to really engage with the topic. And although I was taking notes, I was particularly noticed your premise came through halfway through again, and you used a repetition, which I've written in my notes. I'll have to go back now, because I didn't bring my notes up. And I can't remember exactly what you said, but you used it. Oh, yes. What happened to make us... You said, what happened to make us givers, what happened to make us matchers? So you were saying we were born takers, and then you used this repetition phrase to really emphasise what happened after we were born to make us X, Y, and Z. So that really drew me in, because I'm taking notes, I'm kind of trying to do two things at once. I went, oh, that's interesting, I'm going to write that down. Also made me went, oh, that's what he's talking about. And so I like that. And again, after that, you started to ask us questions to make us think about, are we a giver, are we a matcher, and positing the theory that we're not always one of these things. So that was really helpful for me, because in taking notes, it's sometimes, as you know, when you're evaluating or doing grammarian, that it's difficult to do two things at once. So I really got that, and so everyone else who's not taking notes, I'm sure really understood what you were talking about. If there was anything that I would say is, when you ended, you said that's a bit shortened. And I was thinking, oh, is there more? Did you have more planned? I was wondering, oh, I'd like to hear what that was.
Yeah,
Was it that you'd forgotten what it is, or you were trying to finish before the 7 minutes? Because you had 30 seconds.
Yeah,
All that.
26.
yeah. I to be honest, I thought I might have probably 2 more minutes in the
Right.
speech, and the beginning kind of flustered my pacing,
Right.
so I slowed it down and I truncated it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for a good summary, but it kind of, we often do this, I know we've all done this, it's like, oh, got to finish, that's my speech.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I could have done with just a summary is, this is my point, is that we're not always givers or takers,
Right. Okay.
and that would have been great. So, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andy.
Good.
Sweating it right now.
Well, Scott.
My knees shaking.
Scott, this is only your fourth time here, isn't it? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've done pretty well. Pretty well so far.
Okay.
All right. Welcome Scott to the stage for his prepared speech. All right.
Fellow Toastmasters, I'm Scott. Glad to see everybody here tonight. I'm going to go completely off topic here, and I'm going to talk about a story that we're all probably familiar with. We're going to go back to 1912, and we're going to talk about Titanic. The greatest shipwreck of all time, and the greatest ship that was probably ever built. The Titanic was ordered to be built in 1908 by Bruce Ismay, and he was the director of the White Star Line, which was founded by his father. Now the White Star had been sold to an American businessman by the name of J.P. Morgan, who was supposed to sail on the Titanic but was too sick to sail on the ship. The ship was delivered to the White Star Line in 1912, and it set off to sail to New York with 2,227 souls on board. Now 3/4 away, they hit an iceberg at 11:40 at night. And they hit the iceberg on the side, rupturing about 6 watertight compartments. Now had they hit the iceberg dead on, they would have probably saved the ship and it probably wouldn't have sunk. They would have only ruptured 2 compartments. Now, think to yourself, if you were on that ship and you had your mom, your dad, fiance, your wife, husband, and you had only 2 hours, or you really didn't know, you were told that the ship probably had an hour to live, and you had to say goodbye to your loved ones, I think I'd probably be in a state of panic and I wouldn't know what to do, and there was a lot of confusion going on the ship. Now the ship carried 20 lifeboats, and back in 1912 it was really the rich came first and the poor, they got what was left over. And you had, think about a cake, you have the base of the cake, which consists of the crew, the third class, then you've got the second class, and then you've got the icing, the first class. And the first class were at the top of the ship, their cabins were closest to the boats, so they easily went over to the boats, while the third class had to find their way through a maze of corridors, even to get up to the boat deck, only to find that the boat deck was just filled with people and most of the boats had gone. So it was a really confusing time back at, say, 1 o'clock in the morning on April 12th and April 15th. Well, the ship started sinking slowly and people were getting more, they were reluctant to get into the lifeboats. At first thinking that they had a lot of faith in the ship, that it wouldn't sink. But as the slope on the deck started increasing, they were taking to the lifeboats a lot quicker. Well, the ship sank at 2:05. It was about 2 hours and 40 minutes after hitting the iceberg, and these people were stuck in the Atlantic Ocean, middle Atlantic Ocean, with no provision. They were cold. Well, 1,500 people lost their lives. But a lot of things could have been done. I personally think they could have prevented the ship from sinking. They could have gone a lot slower. Like I said before, they could have hit the iceberg dead on, because ships don't have brakes. And everything that they were doing right from the building of the ship was wrong. They could have constructed it with a double hull going up alongside. They only had a double hull on the bottom of the ship. That would have given them an inside skin for when they did hit the iceberg. They also closed their watertight doors, which I think wasn't really the right move. They could have kept their doors open and the ship would have flooded more on an even level instead of building up. And it was a mathematical certainty once you start filling up the ice cube trays and you reach that tipping point, it's going to go under. Well, the ship was discovered in 1985 by Robert Ballard, about 2.5 miles down at the bottom of the ocean. It was discovered in 2 pieces with the stern about 3,000 feet away from front of the ship and all twisted and mangled. And the front of the ship hit the sand pretty hard, and that's all crumpled and there's huge debris all around. And then we start raising up pieces, and a few years back they raised this 10-ton piece, and that's it. That's all I can come up with.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Very good.
Welcome the other Scott to do the evaluation of Scott's speech.
I'll let him say. I'm not gonna spoil it.
I know, Scott, before
Thank
you
you.
start.
Good evening, fellow Toastmaster, honored guest, honored long time no see guest,
Yeah.
and new guest. This is probably one of the most best story we hear today. It's very good researched, and Scott has done, either he remember the story back for us for a long time, or he did a complete, very thorough research, but the story is went on very well. And I would say, from a speech point of view, this is an excellent speech, and Scott is giving the story from beginning to the end. And most people, if you don't know about the Titanic story, you can pretty very well follow by his 5 minutes of a speech. There's this one thing I think is maybe able to improve a little bit, is very tiny little bit. And Scott came on the stage, it's like, you know, he already tried to tell himself, I'm going to be nervous, I'm going to be a little bit of a tight or whatever, so he put his hand in his jacket pocket. And his gesture tells you I'm uptight. So that's one thing I think is he can, if a little bit of a rehearse at home, that may change a little bit, because in halfway into the speech, his hand is out and he started doing this, and then even better, he started doing this. Another area I usually, we were taught not to say any more than one of the area can be improved, but I thought I do too. And he said, you know, got some eye contact. Probably the most is first to Janice, then to Andy. If you can do this side. That's all my evaluation. And thank you very much.
I realized you were to say that to me last time, or one of the times, it's like, you get your hands in your
Hands in the
pockets,
pockets,
and then I realized halfway through.
I must say, I am
Pull
totally,
the hands out now.
took some of us 6 months before we get
Yeah.
handouts, so Scott, don't worry.
Yeah, it took us a long time. I could stand here like straight like this and,
That was truly amazing reciting facts. How do you remember all of that stuff? You must
yeah, that was very, very
good.
amazing,
You
yeah.
study it, or you know all that?
Fascination since a little boy, so I know the subject really well.
Well, that's why your,
Yeah.
your speech went very,
Ever since a kid, I was just like, wow,
Good.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
but still impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah. There
All
was
right.
a- I'm gonna interrupt for a minute.
Okay,
Because there was a documentary I just saw that was talking about how they built it and there was a fire.
Right, the
And
coal
that-
bunker was on fire.
Yeah, and that might have
it was
been-
continuously on fire. Now, I've just been actually researching on the internet that they've noticed a new marking on the hull
Yeah, yeah,
underwater.
that's the
And they're
thing that I
saying,
saw.
did you see that as well too?
Yeah,
And they're saying, because we just recently celebrated the Titanic being down at the bottom of the ocean for 105 years.
yeah,
It just sank on April 14th when it hit the iceberg, sank
That
on
long
April
ago?
15th.
yep.
So it's just a couple
1912,
weeks ago.
yeah.
Wow.
That might make another interesting
Yeah,
speech
it's really
topic.
nice.
But it was also the way they designed their hull, which I wanted to say and I forget, but now I remember, and I'll tell you that they built their plates
Bulkheads
overlapping.
through it.
Mhm.
overlapping, and nowadays when they build a ship, they just build it in one sheet, and then they put it all together. So if
Yeah, and also a lot of different, nowadays is different construction techniques, which back then, they couldn't really weld metal plates together, so.
No, they couldn't, they riveted it, so
They
the
riveted.
iceberg just did a little Morse code along the
Popping
side of
rivets
the
and-
boat,
yeah.
just popping the rivets out and just letting the water in. Didn't do a 300-foot gash, because if it had done a 300-foot gash, it would have sank in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, that is just lovely. All right,
Well,
well,
Yeah.
very, very good
yeah,
speech,
very good.
good evaluations, thank you very much. Now we move into the table topics. So we do table topics a little bit differently here.
So does everybody?
Yeah, okay, so what we do is we go around in a circle and the first person asks a question, they come up, do their speech, and then the next person asks the question around in a like circle
Okay.
like that. And today's table topic is steak, and
Paul isn't here.
Paul isn't here to mention about his steak. So, any volunteers on steak?
Steak.
Steak, okay, all right, Scott.
Yes, we did.
How'd you come up with these topics?
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about the steak.
Open there.
Steak.
That's not even
Pardon me?
town.
Yeah. Is that the table topic?
Yeah,
The steak.
steak.
Yeah.
Talking the steak.
Yeah.
Table topic.
Yes, I know, it's very weird.
Okay, so you're gonna ask.
I'm gonna ask you a question, yes.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Yes, okay. Give me a second, all right. Steak. What is the juiciest part of the steak and why do you like it?
Juiciest part of the steak.
Juiciest part of the steak. Do you like to eat the juicy steak? No?
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Oh, he's got a plan.
Okay, all right.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guest. What is the juiciest steak I ever had?
Okay.
One time I visited I think it's Houston, Texas. And this must be 30, 40 years ago when I first came to North America. And I joined that was an office from my company. They sent me there with a couple of other guys. So it says, let's have a big steak. 22 ounces, that's a small size.
Small size.
Small size. And they said it has to be 2¼ inch or more thick. So I ordered a medium rare, and the reason a green sign is up is that's rare. I didn't give you enough time. Yellow, well, getting to medium. So medium rare is right in between. And when you cut it open, the inside is kind of a pinkish and blue. That is the most juiciest part, and just comes in, put it in your mouth, and melt. Thank you very much. Okay.
This way, that way?
Brian, okay, you can,
I'll do that time. You're going to answer a tricky question in about 2 minutes.
About steak?
About steak.
Dude, you look like a steak man, you should know something about it.
I don't know.
okay,
Very much.
Brian. Okay, Brian,
Same
what
question.
is the worst steak you ever had?
Oh, okay, all right.
Fellow Toastmasters and gentlemen,
Ladies.
here to talk about the worst steak I ever had. I've had a few bad ones, so I gotta think of the worst. Would probably be in Winnipeg back in the 70s when I was in my 20s, I guess. It was at an old, sort of, like a downtown, I guess, but it was an old dive. And I can't eat steak, rare steak. If I see blood, can't eat it. I guess I went in there and I told the guy I wanted it well done. It was kind of dim lights in there. And then I started to eat on it. You know, and then the first bite I knew right away because it was sort of dripping down my mouth here. I guess I see blood. Freaked me right out, right? So I called the. It happened to be, I think it was a Japanese place, and I didn't really want to get into a big fight with them about it, And I just wanted them to try to pay half price and get out of there. Didn't want to eat anything, so I just figured, we'll be cooking better next time we're there, and I left.
You asked Harvey.
Now, what's your question, Brian? You have to think of a question.
Think of a question.
Give the question.
This is
like
actually
hard as
quite
it
hard.
is.
This is very hard, yeah.
It is. It's a good question.
Yeah. Okay. How many steaks have you ate in one meal?
In one meal.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll wait till Brian is ready. Well, in true Toastmaster style, you are allowed to not necessarily answer the question you were asked.
Yes.
So instead of how many steaks have I tried to eat in one session, I'm going to say something which is much more dear to my heart, and you may well be aware that a better question would be, how much pizza have I tried to eat in one session? Because I love pizza. Did you know that? Did you know that I love pizza? If you know me very well, you would know that that's possibly my favourite food. But since the topic was steak, I forgive you for asking that question. But the most amount of pizza I ate in one session was on my 21st birthday at university. And my friends decided to order, well, let me see if I can remember this correctly, 7 large pizzas. Now, when I say large, these were ridiculously large. They measured 2 feet by 1 feet square. So that's about yay big. And my intention on my 21st birthday was not to get drunk, but was to eat far too much pizza. Because that's what you do when you're young. You do dumb things, right? So I attempted to eat not a whole one, because that would be really stupid. A half of one, which is a foot square. That's quite a lot of pizza. And this is not thin crust. That would be totally easy, right? Eating thin crust pizza. This is really thick, well-loaded pepperoni, meat, tomato. Oh man, I'm just thinking back to that. It was great to begin with, but after 5 minutes of eating, I was starting to go, this is going to be impossible. Now, I'd like to say that I finished my task on my 21st birthday, but unfortunately, no. The crusts, they defeated me. There was possibly 2 crusts left, and I just looked at them, and everyone was going, go, 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 like you do with beer, but this was pizza. And I couldn't manage it. So this is possibly my biggest regret in my life, that I never finished my 21st birthday pizza, whatever you would call it, overdose. But perhaps that was good for my health. Thank you very much. I made it. Lloyd.
Yeah, face some music.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you like curveballs?
Huh?
Do you like curveballs?
What? You speak in English, boy?
I'm from England. I was thinking, if the topic is about steak,
I don't know what you're talking about.
do you, can you think of other things that are not necessarily the food steak, but other uses for steaks, like in, for example, in gardening, and in, I don't know, killing Dracula, or funny stories about steak that's not necessarily the food steak that you have experienced in your life? There you go, that's the question. Any kind of steak, not just the food, steaks in the garden.
Okay.
Get it? giving you enough time to think of something.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but I'm gonna tell you about some steak dinner that I might have had once before, or could have in the future. And it's a steak that, you know, you've heard of pulled pork, right? Well, I think I'm gonna try a pulled steak, because I'm gonna create this thing called pulled steak, and I'm gonna create a restaurant where we're gonna have cows, where we're gonna bring the cows in, and we're gonna slaughter the cows right in front of the people, right? And we're gonna bleed them out, and they're gonna be able to choose what part of the cow, what did they want? Do they want hind quarter, front quarter? And we're gonna take that and we're gonna cook it up for them, and then we're gonna pull it apart and give them pulled beef, pulled steak sandwiches, pulled steak dinner, pulled steak breakfast. Pulled steak omelets. There we go. Thinking too much.
No worries.
So yeah, so I think it would be a really wonderful thing to be able to create a restaurant where we slaughter the cows, bleed them out, make pulled beef, and create all kinds of foods with it. Can you imagine? I probably could. I think I may be some kind of an entrepreneur thinking like this, because you could probably make a lot of money out of this restaurant. I'm looking for shareholders. Would you like to buy some shares in it? Thank you.
We'll have every animal activist showing up at that restaurant. Yeah, the administrative help showing up.
I don't know where all that is from, but it's
Lawyers,
somewhere.
Stay there, you need to give a question.
Yeah.
Oh, you
You
can
can
ask
ask another
questions.
question.
Oh,
But that was an excellent ending.
That was an excellent
You want to buy
ending,
shares?
how you doing?
Good, yourself, Lloyd?
Good. Your name is Scott?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me think here. Yeah. Could you create a new way of cooking steak, and how would you do it?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
A new way of cooking a steak, fellow Toastmasters. I'm Scott, you all know that. So we're just gonna get straight into it. I will somehow devise some sort of device that is cooked under a magnifying lens, which will take the heat from the sun and magnify it over the steak. And you would have it, you could set your settings on this magnifying glass if you wanted medium rare to let in as amount of sunlight that you want to come in. Or you can have like this kind of shade cover which only allows you to get a certain amount of sunlight over this magnifying lens. And the other way you could probably do it is you heat up a rock. You got this real hot rock, and you just put this rock maybe over a fire. You don't get the grill marks on it. You get more of a kind of like a skin when you're cooking on the steak, and you can't really set the setting on an open fire. I guess you could pull your logs out and wait for the coals to simmer down a little bit, and then heat up the rock to your specifications. Perhaps you would maybe have a thermostat nearby to see how hot you want that rock to get. But it all depends on what type of steak you're cooking. If you're cooking T-bone, New York steak, baseball steak, sirloin steak, and I could just go on and on, but I won't, because I don't know them all. And that's it.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel guilty eating a steak?
Okay, all right.
Lead him out.
Do I ever feel guilty eating a steak?
Pulled steak.
A pulled steak. I've had a few steaks in my life. I've eaten some here, and I've eaten some in China. Steak is generally really delicious, and I've never really given the animal much thought before. I mean, I've watched documentaries on how they make hamburger and steak and whatnot, and at that moment I say, yeah, this is pretty bad. This is very terrible. But they're cows. Aren't they bred and designed to be cooked and delicious? They're delicious, right? And it's very tough to think of cows in a way that make them cute and cuddly and whatnot. But recently, I saw on the internet, there's this guy in a field, he's reading a book, and this calf comes over to him and lays his head on his leg, and he takes a picture with his cell phone. I have a new friend, and I'm afraid of waking him up, and it's this cow head on this guy's leg. And now that I think about it, yeah, it's pretty terrible that we treat cows this way. But if we continue to think about it, we're not going to eat too much more. And what do we do with all the steaks that are already in the world? Somebody's got to eat them. Might as well be me. Would you like to try it, Dennis?
Sure.
All right. Have you ever had any other kind of steak? Ostrich, alligator, country fried, whatever.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Fellow Toastmasters, have I ever had anything, a steak, other than from a cow? Maybe a bison, but that doesn't count as a steak because it would have been a burger. That's not a steak. Does named steak count?
I guess so.
Okay, because I have a cousin-in-law who lives out in Langley and regularly raises cows. His last cow was named Sparky. Sparky is in his freezer. So when my cousin Randy invited us over for dinner, we're not having steak, we're having Sparky. Okay, so you get to know your cows, you're gonna name them, right?
No.
Yes. You're gonna put names on them. And when you pull them out, it's, okay, there's Sparky, there's, I don't know, Frank, Jane. You cannot name any of your cows Janice, okay? That would just be really, really bad. Do you have an ex-wife? You can name the cows after the ex-wife.
No, I still like her.
You still like her? Okay, then we'll stick with Sparky. Because I ate it, my husband ate it, but my cousin's daughter, nope, that's, I know that piece of steak, I'm not eating it, that would be like cannibalism. And that's the closest thing I got to a different kind of steak.
All right. Thank you so much, Dennis. All right. Well, very good table topics. It was a tough topic to ask questions on. Yeah. All right. So now we move on to reports. And we first have the timer report.
Now, Brian not knowing,
Brian not knowing.
you'll have to prompt
If you come up, Brian, and I'll ask you.
Yeah, asking some questions is
Yes.
probably the easiest way for a beginner.
Yeah. For a beginner.
Yeah, right.
How do you let another one dead?
Oh, no worries, no worries.
No worries.
No worries, we're at the end of the night, and this is, so how did you like being timer, Mr. Brian?
It was good.
Yeah.
Interesting, it was fun. It was a little bit distracting because some of the stories were really good. Time wise, then my phone was dying at the same time,
Oh, no, yeah.
so it was great.
So, did
Good work done.
everybody get a green card at least?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think everybody got it up to red pretty well.
All right,
I think about 5 seconds away.
Yeah.
awesome.
Good.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brian.
No one went over it.
Nobody went over, yeah.
No, just
Now we have our accountant report.
Ah, yes. Ah.
Oh,
Okay.
Err.
Hey.
So, my favorite filler word is so. That's the one I keep working on. I keep saying so. And yes, it is hard because you're listening and you sometimes miss things, which I know I did. And I didn't get to bang it really hard. I did notice a few, and hopefully you noticed when I was trying to click.
Yeah.
But overall, you guys are really, really good with no filler words. Sometimes you hear somebody sitting here going, and you're going, okay, I really can't tell them there were 25 ums in their 5-minute speech.
yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. Finally, we have our grammarian,
Oh,
Who's
here we
that,
go.
who is
Hey.
Lloyd, yes.
He's taking notes.
Yeah, you took notes. This is
Yeah, I'm
good.
taking notes, so I won't remember a thing.
Mr. Lloyd.
Mr. Lloyd.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I was your grammarian this evening, but I am going to be stepping out soon. Andrew, you used some pretty good words there. I heard you say use the word odd, and you used generosity, annoying. And the one word you used, we've all given some speeches before on givers and takers, but all of a sudden you've thrown in the word matcher, and you really changed the whole thing, and I really liked that. So, you know, I really like the wording that you used in your speech and that. I have nothing to say on what you could have done to make it better in that, because I think it was quite good. Okay, Scott. You used words like ruptured, confusion, faith, increasing, which were some pretty good $10 words. Maybe 15.
Thanks, buddy.
Overall, I figured as grammar went, your speech was pretty good. Everybody liked it, really liked it.
Thanks.
And then we had, who was it, Harvey?
Harvey.
Filling in for Sean, correct?
No, it's just giving an evaluation.
Harvey was evaluating my speech.
Yeah.
Okay, what did I do here then?
You evaluate.
Andrew, I got Andrew right.
Oh, maybe it was
And
just
then
the
Scott.
table topic.
3 people did speeches.
No.
You went up.
No.
Yeah, I did an evaluation of.
That, I did a grammarian report
That's
on
no
it.
problem.
I want to hear it. Hear the grammarian report.
Do it, yeah.
Go Lloyd.
Go Lloyd.
Sean. Harvey standing for Sean. You used words like flustered, repetition, and shortened, which were some pretty good $10 words also. So I think your grammar was pretty good grammar that you all used there, and yeah, that's the end of my grammar report. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
And fellow Toastmasters?
Unfortunately-
Yes.
Yes? Did you have something to?
No,
Oh, no, okay. You raised your pen, it's like, whoa.
Because I don't have the.
Oh, okay.
Don't give him that.
He just used it to hit me, so. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, thank you for this session of Toastmasters, and I will call this meeting to a close.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pretty good.